This should be played at high volume, preferably in a residential area.
200 feet. Best and worst part of the Final Four we put up on Golic Wingo. Brian says best part is Duke is not in.
Yeah,
there you go.
A lot of people feel that way. They do. But you know what? It was almost if that's the way you feel,
yep.
You almost had the nightmare scenario because Grayson Allen, who the player people love to hate if you don't like Duke, he had. That ball looked like it was going to go in twice.
And he had a bad game, too.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if you threw up the winner? A buzzer-beating winner,
like
basically. Steve said best and worst part of the Final Four. Loyola making the Blue Bloods look foolish. All that money for the best talent. And here comes little Loyola. Little Loyola. I like that. Best part is the Cinderella story. Worst is my bracket died round one.
Well, I can confirm that, having had Arizona in the championship game, so I feel your pain.
We have to get into our bracket here on Golic Wingo, the staff. We have our loser. And basically, if we had no tournament and just said the staff has a loser, it would be the same person anyway.
Yeah. And he's, by the way, I don't think there's any way he won't be in.
No, he is.
Locked in.
He's locked in. We'll get to that and exactly what he has to do. Pete says the best, Loyola spends as much on their basketball program as Ohio State's lacrosse program. Shows you don't have to go hog wild to win. Well, there's hog wild to win, and then there's hog wild to win consistently.
Correct.
And that's there's certainly a difference there.
Those are two completely different things, no question about it.
Daniel says, where can I find the Loyola Chicago bandwagon? I want on Sister Jean for life. Sister Jean.
Nuns on the run, baby.
Man,
she's got her own sneakers.
Prayer Force One.
You see her in the post game presser with the hat backwards.
Incredible.
I mean, get ready.
Yeah.
I mean, Sister Jean is all in right now, people, and we'll tell you why you should be all in on Loyola Wing It All. Stay with us. We're back in 10 seconds.
Get up for the love of sports.
Since 1963, when they actually went on to win it all. But that is the point now, isn't it? This is a wonderful run Loyola has been on. But let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Let's assume they lose to Michigan.
Okay.
What will you remember more 20 years from now? Loyola as an 11 seed making it to the Final Four, or UMBC taking down a number one as a 16 seed?
Oh, I think it'll be the number one seed losing to a 16.
Right?
Yeah.
So for this to actually work, for it to be everything that we say it is already, they have to win it all.
Yeah.
I mean, otherwise it's just VCU. Or it's
This
George
has been done
Mason.
3 other times. VCU in 11, George Mason in 06, and LSU in 86. Yes. 11 seeds making it to the Final Four. Because still we know the lowest seed is the 8 seed Villanova,
right?
When they won it. So yeah, if they don't, it will be remembered for the first time, because this isn't the first time in history this happened, but it is the first time in the history of the tournament that a 16 beat a 1. So that would be the headline coming out after who the champion is. That would be it, unless Loyola goes on and wins this thing. I would agree.
So here's the interesting thing about who they play in the semifinal game, in the Final Four. I think Michigan is the perfect team for them to play, because Loyola is based in Chicago. That is the heart of Big Ten country. And all these kids that are on Loyola always see the Big Ten schools probably as where they feel they should be.
Right?
Yeah. So if you're Porter Moser, and we'll ask him about this. He'll join us at 9:30. This is really the perfect type of school for Loyola to play, because it's another chance for them to wear that chip on their shoulder and say, hey, listen, they get all the money. Michigan, Ohio State, Wisconsin, Michigan State, the big schools, yada, yada, yada. They get all the praise. They get all the glory. We have to deal and be in their shadow all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Here is our chance to go, no, you're in our shadow now. And I don't think you can overstate that when it comes to how Loyola will approach this game mentally. It is a huge bargaining chip, or a huge advantage on their shoulders.
It's always that question in college football.
Bargaining chip. We're not bargaining here.
Take that break and play the small teams, and the small teams get paid for it.
No bargaining.
And I always say when they say, oh, is that fair? Those guys, those players from the smaller schools, they relish that opportunity. They're like, you know what? We wanted to go there. Maybe we weren't looked at by those schools. This is our chance to see, how do I match up with that guy? That guy that was a 5-star, I certainly wasn't that. How do I match up? In one game, what do I get to do against that guy? So absolutely there's that pride factor of, you know what? For all Loyola has to do, each of these games is be as good or better than that team they're playing.
Correct.
And then to the next game, and all they have to do is be a little bit better than Michigan. That's it. One game at a time. That's exactly the role they're going.
And the way these guys are playing at Loyola, to your point, I don't think they say, I want to see how I match up. I think they're thinking, I'm better than you.
Yeah.
And I'm going to show you I'm better than you. And quite frankly, with the way things have devolved, for lack of a better term, around college basketball, with what happened at the end of the regular season and the story about the FBI probe and all the coaches that were involved, this is exactly what the tournament needs. They need a Loyola-type team to go on and win. Because, look, the Blue Bloods are great most years. But when you have a situation like this, it's very reminiscent, Mike, of 1983 when North Carolina State came out of nowhere and shocked Phi Slamma Jamma, the University of Houston. That team was loaded, man. They were far and away the best team in the country. They had the best players, but they didn't win because North Carolina State and Jim Valvano became legends. Then 2 years later in 1985, you have Hoya Paranoia at its peak. Patrick Ewing and everybody else, John Thompson. And what happens? Little Villanova with Raleigh Massimino as an 8 seed. Harold Jensen shoots everything. They shoot 72% from the floor without a three-point line and shock one of the biggest, baddest teams on the planet. I think the tournament needs an upset like that to sort of be rejuvenated and get everybody to buy in again.
No, we're going to find out. And if you see it, if they win, you'll see Sister Jean's face everywhere on shirts and bobbleheads.
As the way it should
be.
By the way, one thing.